We begin at 5 o'clock with a breaking traffic alert on I-5 tonight. In Washington, a landslide is blocking all northbound lanes in the Woodland area. Washington State Patrol is asking drivers to avoid the area. Between the Clark County Fairgrounds and Woodland, they're sending people off the interstate and sending them back south. Now you can see from these photos, it looks like a small section of hillside came down, carrying with it some sizable trees right onto the highway. And from what we can tell, at least one vehicle was directly impacted. The door to the pickup here is open, so whoever was inside seems to have gotten out. No word on any injuries or how long this could take to clear. We'll update you as new info comes in.
And this evening, there's trouble from another landslide near Corbett on the historic Columbia River Highway. This is what the scene looked like earlier, about a half-mile west of the Vista House. The slide around 8 this morning took out a section of the stone guardrail as well. At least one lane is now back open for travel, but it's going to be slow going. Head to tripcheck.com for the latest. Now, both those slides coming after a wet Easter Sunday, followed by a soaking start to the week. The view over downtown Portland from our Wells Fargo sky camera, shows that steady rain this evening is still falling. Well, thanks for joining us to a soggy start. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Laurel Porter. There is a chance we could see more slides because of all that heavy rain right now. ODOT spokesperson Don Hamilton told us they're closely watching parts of the Coast Range and along Interstate 84 over the next few days. All this gloomy and rainy weather we've been seeing the last couple of weeks has people hoping for a sign of sunny and warmer weather.
I'm kind of sick of it, to be honest. I play softball, so too much rain and the game gets canceled.
Normally I'm a fan of the rainy weather. It's one thing I like about Portland a lot, but I'm ready for it to be over. Like today we were planning to go out on a hike, but decided it was too rainy for it and it would be too muddy.
Since last month, the Portland International Airport has already seen more than 6 inches of rain.
All right, let's go to Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino. Now, Matt, the question we all have tonight, when is this rain finally going to stop?
Everybody is sick of it, and I mean, including me. Everybody's like, when's it going to stop? I mean, it's been a rough road over the last couple of weeks and even beyond that. And just to, put a cherry on top of it, record rainfall in Portland today. Laurel, I know you love to bag the records, and today we did. 0.68 of an inch of rain there. So we've added to our wet spring total. We're going to end the month of April with above average rainfall, if that's any consolation to you. On Doppler radar, the heavy precipitation from Mount Hood to the south and west. But when we widen the view out, there's still a whole lot of rain to get through, even though it won't be as heavy as what provided us with the record rainfall. This is an atmospheric river. It's beginning to weaken and move on away from us. So there is hope. Tomorrow will be a brighter day than today. It won't be totally dry, but the clouds will lift a bit. There will be some breaks in between. And then like 15 minutes later, you might get hailed on. But at least we get some sun breaks and see a little bit of an improvement there. Rainfall going forward over the next 2 days, another 3/4 of an inch or so, potentially. A lot of that coming tonight into the early morning hours tomorrow. Then it becomes spotty and showery. There's also a chance for thunderstorms over the area tomorrow, too, just to add that to the mix. But again, I've got some dry weather coming up in the 7-day forecast. There's quite a bit of improvement. Guys?
I'd be happy to forego any more records, Matt. Thank you. This evening, we are also following a deadly police shooting in Salem. Oregon State Police telling us one of their troopers shot and killed someone along I-5 this morning, shutting down the highway for hours. One lane has reopened, but others do remain closed as the investigation continues tonight. Mike Benner joins us from Salem with what we know so far. Mike?
Yeah, Laurel, we are just north of the scene, and as you mentioned, one lane on the northbound side is back open, but others are still shut down as detectives continue their investigation. In the meantime, law enforcement officials are saying very little about what happened this morning. We know this all unfolded around 8:40 in the northbound lanes of I-5, just north of Highway 22. Officials say there was an incident, and it ended with an Oregon State trooper shooting and killing someone. We caught up with a woman who was driving in the area just moments before the deadly shooting. She recalls seeing a man armed with a handgun walking along the highway, pointing the gun at passing drivers, including her.
After 2 seconds, I put my hands up like this because I'm like, well, maybe if he goes through a bone, it'll slow down before it gets to anything major. And as soon as there's a little bit space in front of me, I just goose it and I keep going down. It was really scary because then I even thought if I get shot, who else is my car going to kill as I'm driving out of control across, lanes of the highway? And I just got chills just thinking about it.
Yeah, I'll say, what a scary morning with a stretch of northbound I-5 shut down during the police investigation. Traffic had to be rerouted. We know that Lancaster and commercial streets were pretty jammed up a lot of today. Back out here live with the Oregon State Police involved in this shooting. We know that the Salem Police Department is investigating the case. We'll be sure to pass along any new information as we get it. For now, I'll send it back to you.
Mike Benner in Salem tonight. Thank you, Mike. We are learning more this evening about a mass shooting at a bank in Louisville, Kentucky, where authorities say an employee shot and killed 4 co-workers. Police have now identified the victims as Tommy Elliott, Jim Tutt, Josh Barrick, and Juliana Farmer. They say 25-year-old Connor Sturgeon shot them with a rifle and injured 9 other people, including 2 police officers responding to the Old National Bank downtown. Police say they shot and killed the gunman. One of the victims here was a close friend of Kentucky's governor.
Tommy Elliott helped me build my law career, helped me become governor, gave me advice on being a good dad. It's one of the people I talk to most in the world, and very rarely are we talking about my job. He was an incredible friend.
One of the injured officers was shot in the head. He remains in critical condition this evening, along with 2 other people.
Now to Portland, where a longtime taxi cab driver was stabbed to death Sunday after picking up a passenger in southeast Portland. A man named he's 30 years old. His name is Moses Lopez. He's been arrested in connection with this attack. It turns out police were already looking for him. Daisy Caballero has been following the story for us. And Daisy, Lopez had a warrant out for his arrest out of Coos County.
Yes, and that's because he had been arrested a week ago for threatening 2 men with weapons down in North Bend on the coast. He was charged and then released, but skipped out on his court appearance. Lopez then made his way to Portland and is now arrested for murder.
I think everybody's kind of still reeling and trying to process what happened.
The Portland taxi cab community is on edge after a longtime radio cab driver was stabbed to death this weekend after picking up a passenger in southeast Portland.
It's getting rougher and rougher out there driving around.
That's where police say that only 30-year-old Moses Lopez was arrested on murder charges shortly after the stabbing.
It's always surprising, but it's not unheard of. It's been a long time since this kind of thing has happened to this extent, though, where someone actually passed away.
According to court documents, Lopez already had a warrant out for his arrest from Coos County for threatening 2 men with weapons last Monday. He was charged and released, but never showed up for his Thursday court appearance, ultimately making his way to Portland.
I think drivers are going to be far more aware of who's in their back seat and what's going on, because this absolutely came out of nowhere. It was completely unprovoked. He never saw it coming.
Darren Campbell is a former cab driver, but now serves as the director of marketing for Radio Cab. He tells me the security camera inside of the taxi captured the entire gruesome attack.
It did not leave anything out, and as disturbing as it was to watch, it's amazing evidence.
Campbell is hoping for more police enforcement and mental health resources moving forward. The driver's name has not yet been released until his family is notified, but was described as kind and extremely hardworking, who has been driving with Radio Cab for over a decade. Lopez is now facing 2 charges, second-degree murder and unlawful use of a weapon.
Now, police so far aren't saying what led up to the stabbing. This unfortunately marks the city's 22nd homicide so far this year. And I'm told that the driver had recently found his biological parents and was making plans to meet them in person for the very first time. David Laurel.
Thank you, Daisy. Let's get to our homeless crisis tonight. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek is ready to send out millions of dollars to areas that fall under her homelessness state of emergency. But she wants them to show exactly where that money's going to be going. Blair Best is in the newsroom this evening. Blair, the governor singled out both Portland and Multnomah County, and not exactly in a good way.
No, not at all, David. See, she's looking for specific details on how they will spend this money, and she's not getting that right now. This is all part of the plan she's been talking about since before she was even elected. It includes getting at least 1,200 people off the streets and opening 600 more shelter beds by the end of the year. But now it comes down to the cities and counties doing their part as well.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Huddled inside a small conference room at Portland's World Trade Center building Monday afternoon, Governor Tina Kotek announced the latest phase in her aggressive plan to tackle homelessness statewide.
This is a very important day in the next step in our emergency order.
Back in January, on her first day in office, Governor Kotek declared a homelessness state of emergency, which made certain areas of the state eligible for state money to help with the crisis. All they had to do was submit a plan of how they would use the funds. Now, those areas include Multnomah, Washington, Lane, Jackson, Polk, and Clackamas County, along with Central Oregon.
First of all, there's been an incredible amount of work since January, and I just want to recognize that.
The legislature recently approved $85 million for these plans. The goal is for that money to be available at the end of this month. They also approved $26 million for the rural and coastal areas not included in the state of emergency.
We're not just handing out money without specific outcomes. We need to know how it's going to be spent and have confidence that they will hit those goals.
Multnomah County, where more than 5,000 people are experiencing homelessness, is slated to get the most, $18 million. It would move 275 people off the streets and open 138 shelter beds. But the governor is hesitant to hand over that money, given the lack of collaboration between the city and county and missing details in their plan.
In the case of Multnomah County and City of Portland, I'll be honest, I was disappointed that they didn't have more clarity. I've sat through several meetings about trying to understand the existing capacity, who's paying for what, where does the money come from, what's the city committed to, what's the county committed to. They need to get their stuff together.
Advice that contradicts what Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler said about the partnership last week.
I can tell you that the relationship between the city and the county around homeless services is better than it has ever been.
Today, his office tells KGW in an email that they look forward to reviewing the governor's input and will work with the county to update their plan.
I've been very clear they need to sit down and give us a few more details before we can release the money.
The City of Portland and Multnomah County have until April 28th to revise their plan in order to receive that $18 million. Today, the governor said the money cannot go toward funding any tents. Now, the county tells us in an email that they're building a model for partnership and look forward to meeting with the governor to ensure a plan moving forward. David?
And I know you, Blair, will be keeping an eye on it. Thanks so much.